What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to another Resplendent review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Resplendent Fae and I'll be going over the updated builds that you can run on her. So Resplendent Fae is a Gen 1 green infantry dragon and she did get a weapon refine 2 years ago and it's still a pretty decent weapon. So Eternal Breath provides you with +5 stat buffs to Fae and any kind of ally within 2 spaces. So there's no tactic condition here like male Robin or female Robin's weapon refine, so it's pretty easy to trigger for just buffing up all of your allies, and this is especially good if you consider the bonus doubler Sacred Seal that we now have in the game. Her weapon refine is quite synergetic with the primary condition. She just needs any kind of bonus to be active on herself, and she can inflict -4 attack and resistance debuff on the foe in the combat, and she can also get +1 special cooldown per foe's attack. So this is kind of similar to the primary condition of Moon Gradivis of Brave Dimitri, which means that she can retaliate back with 2 cooldown specials like Glimmer and Moonbow. Like a lot of Gen 1 units, she does have high HP, and she also has super boon in HP and defense, and her offenses are not going to be looking that impressive on base, but she could be invested into with Dragon Flowers and merges, and at the end she's going to be having much better stats. And even though her weapon refine is a bit old, it's still decent in the recent times so that she could be used on a budget just as a buff bot, and having that special acceleration in her weapon is really good. Even though it's not like a full breath effect, at least it allows her to retaliate back with 2 cooldown specials. We recently got Brave Tiki in Choose Your Legends, and you could just free summon her and also spark her. So a lot of people are going to be using her, and Brave Tiki just has a much superior enemy phase. And we also have a Drift Female Korin who just has an upgraded effect of Fae in terms of special acceleration, because she can also get acceleration on her own hits, and she also has -1 special cooldown, so she can actually run specials like Bonfire, Iceberg, Blue Flame and retaliate back with it. And she's also going to be faster than Fae, while Tiki is going to be a lot more bulky because of the damage reduction and Remote Breath being such a good weapon. But if you like Fae, then she could definitely work out, especially if you invest resources into her. And the best thing about Fae is going to be the fact that she is one of the very few Gen 1 units who can score 190 BST in Colosseum game modes. Because Dragons got a huge buff last month in terms of scoring, because we now have a 300 SP Sacred Seal for Dragons in Distant Counter Dragons, and we also have 300 SP Sloppy skills. So when you combine Dragon Strat 4 and the Distant Counter Sacred Seal, she can reach 190 BST with the dual skill, which is definitely pretty amazing for arena scoring and also for the combat, because she's going to be able to bait out a lot of the range units. Of course, you will have to run the dual skill, which is not as good as a lot of the slotty skills, but it's still pretty unique that Fae can score this high despite being a Gen 1 unit. Now if you want to build up Resplendent Fae on a budget for limited hero battles, arena assault and things of those nature, then you can just give her attack defense form from Karen, and you could run a higher cooldown special like Glacies, because Fae is going to get doubled, especially at this kind of low investment. She's not going to be all that fast. Glacies is going to be packing a bit more punch, but if you just want to retaliate back with a special, then Moonbow can work out. And bonus doubler Sacred Seal does have amazing synergy with the self buffs that Fae can get from Eternal Breath. And if you want to invest heavily into Fae with Dragon Flowers and merges, then you can just focus on your attack and resistance, and you can run Distant Counter Dragon Sacred Seal. Now, because she is mainly going to be used in the enemy phase with this build, Mirror Stance 3 from the Divine Code section is going to be pretty amazing here for the guard effect. And guard effect is such a good effect for any kind of tank, because a lot of the null follow-up units are going to be able to just double them, so denying their specials is really good. And you can also run Quick Riposte with this build, but Dragon's Ire is just a better Quick Riposte with more threshold for the HP, and it can also pierce through the impact effects in the enemy phase. You can also run Attack Resistance Unity and Dragon Wall from the Divine Code section again, and for her Slotsy, you don't really want to run a Menace skill or an Oath Force skill because she already gets the buffs, so it is going to be a bit redundant, so that's why a Joint Drive skill is going to be pretty good. And in this case, Joint Drive attack goes really well. For her special, you can run Ether, which is not going to be the biggest deal to trigger because of the special acceleration, but you can also run Glimmer so that she can just instantly retaliate back with it and even kill a lot of the opponents. Similar to what Brave Tiki does, but Fae doesn't have -1 special cooldown, and she definitely does not have Remote Breath, so the guard effects are going to be annoying with this kind of playstyle. But with the Dragon Wall, she can definitely get the damage reduction, and because she does have the visible buffs, Panic is going to be really annoying, and she could be the target of menace skills or chill skills, and that's why attack resistance unity can protect you from those debuffs. It is pretty easy to trigger Dragon Wall and get the max damage reduction with Fae because she does have the in combat resistance debuff with her weapon, and she can also buff herself up, so that is really helpful, especially with the unity skill. And finally, if you sacrifice Brave Tiki to your Fae, then attack resistance finish is going to be an amazing skill here because you're able to retaliate back with your Glimmer to get the extra true damage, and you can also heal up HP with this, which is really good for the self-sustain. With this build, your slot B skill is flexible. You can just run Dragon Wall or Dragon's Ire, or you can even run Dragon's Wrath if you want to, but Dragon's Ire is going to be giving you that auto follow-up. Fae, especially after the Resplendent stats, can definitely be invested into speed by going with the speed IV, and I would only recommend going for the speed IV if you want to invest heavily into her with all of the Dragon Flowers and merges, because we have crazy fast units in the game, and even though with this build Fae is able to reach like 65 plus speed, it is still not going to be enough for the modern times because units are extremely fast. But in any case, if you're going to be max investing into Fae, then I would definitely recommend a speed build because this allows her to run null follow-up. And by stacking up speed, you're also going to be denying any kind of follow-up attacks of many of the faster units, as well as being able to run null follow-up to avoid the auto follow-up attacks of the slower enemies. And you can also run Joint Drive attack and bonus doubler just so that you can get even more speed. And attack speed ideal does have pretty good synergy with her weapon because she does get the visible buffs, and it is easily available in the Divine Code section as well. Whenever attack speed finish comes out, it is also going to be a pretty good option. Even though it is not going to be giving you +9 speed, it can give you that healing and also the true damage. And because of Fae being a Gen 1 unit, she could be used in Book 3 and prior metagame in Summoner duels. And with this build, she could be used as a frontliner, but you definitely have to watch out for the Brave Alms and a lot of the red nukes. But against a lot of the other opponents, Fae is going to be able to stand her ground. And if you just want to have a more supportive build for Summoner duels, the Book 3 and prior metagame, then you can just try an HP stack on her. With that HP super boon, she's able to reach pretty high HP, and you can just run even pulse ties so that you can just disarm the pre-charge specials. Even, pre-charge specials of far save armors like Hardy Fighter, Aegis, Brave Hector. And she can also run infantry pulse if you just want to pulse down a lot of the infantry allies. Panic Ploy is also an option if you don't have too many infantry allies. Bonus doubler is going to be her bread and butter as always, and in Summoner duels you're going to be covering her up with a far save tank, so it is better to focus on her melee matchups, and bonus doubler does help you with that. You can also run her with Dragon's Wrath, and this could work out with Distant Counter Sacred Seal so that you can retaliate back with a Glimmer, and Dragon's Wrath 4 does work in both phases. So by speed stacking up Fae, you're going to be having a better mix phase, which means that she's going to be able to deal more damage with Dragon's Wrath. And even though her attack stat is not the insanely high, it is still decent enough, especially to get 10 true damage a lot of times, and it also has 25% damage reduction on foe's first attack. And Dragon's Wrath can go really well with a speed stack build because she's not going to get doubled by a lot of the opponents, so in that case getting that damage reduction on their first hit, and the true damage can help you kill some of the faster threats who do have null follow up but they do not have a lot of bulk, and she can just retaliate back with that true damage and that Glimmer. As I've said before, she's pretty amazing in Arena for scoring, and if you've built her up, then you can definitely try and use her as a score stick because she can score 190 BST, which is definitely higher than a lot of the units, and we just started getting 190 BST units. We just got Mordecai. Now, granted, Mordecai can run some other slot A skills here, but Fae can still run Distant Counter and bait out units like Legendary Crom, for example, and Dragon's Wrath is a pretty good skill here, just for the scoring and also for getting that damage reduction. So definitely better than Chill Defense Resistance 3, which we got on Nina. So dragons do have a competent skill here that they can use. Unfortunately, she doesn't have access to a lot of specials. You will have to run Blue Flame or Ether, and Blue Flame is a 3 cooldown special, and this is where it really sucks not having -1 special cooldown like Adrift Corrin, because you're not going to be able to retaliate back with Blue Flame unless you give her some kind of pulse support, which is pretty unlikely with her high HP. So yeah, you're not going to be able to retaliate back with Blue Flame right off the bat, but at the very least, you're going to be getting some true damage, and Joint Drive attack can be really good with that. Fae can also provide you with some good support in Arena so that you can get the visible buffs really easily at start of a turn. And this means that you don't really have to waste your rally skills to buff up your units, or even waste the skill slots on your units running the tactic skills or something like that. She already gives all of the visible buffs, so you don't really have to run a rally skill on her, and Harsh Command Plus is gonna be the best assist for Arena, so that if your allies get debuffed or panic, you can just use Harsh Command Plus to revert that. And we have gotten Spring Fear in the limited ephemera manual who can provide this skill. And finally, she could also be used in Pawns of Loki because her HP is pretty high, and I do use Fae every single time in my brigade. So dragons are pretty amazing because of their high HP, and especially Fae can just buff up your brigade with her visible buffs, which is really good. So you can just run Sudden Panic to provide the extra support to panic the opponent's entire team, and then Noontime is going to be useful for healing. Fae is an amazing support unit in Pawns of Loki with that high HP. So if you want to max invest into her with all of the dragon flowers, then I would say that the plus speed IV is pretty good, and then your ascended asset can depend on if you want to have a more supportive build. So in that case, increasing her HP can help you, but otherwise you can just ascend her attack IV, and this can help you with the retaliations of Glimmer, and that can definitely help you get a lot of the one-shots, especially with that adaptive damage that she can get. But if you just want to focus on her attack and resistance, then that's also an option. So it really depends if you want to go the attack and resistance route or the speed stacking route. I do like speed stacking a bit more, but Fae is quite flexible in terms of the builds that you can get on her. So I hope you all enjoyed this Resplendent review. Make sure to share this video with your friends who are trying to build her up or just update her builds. And if you enjoyed, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using Super Thanks or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more Fae videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as the amount of free-to-play green infantry dragons that we have got after Fae. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.